Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
The following is a News Channel 8 special presentation.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Ande Engleman. Sam Shad will be back with us next week. To tax or not to tax us is the question that's raging all over Nevada, and we're going to put that to a couple of our guests this morning. Sheila Leslie and Larry Martin are running for Assembly District 27, and they're on the hot seat. And Sam has his interview with Lieutenant Bill Bowen, who's running for sheriff. That race is heating up. We have some very special guests on the Pundit panel this morning. Mack, who sits on the governor's task force for tax policy, is going to join us. He's in favor of lotteries. And David Ward, you'll remember him. He ran on the Democratic ticket for Congress a couple of years ago. He's going to take on Greg Ferraro. It's all going to be fun, and it's all ahead on Nevada Newsmakers.
Does the thought of going back to work scare you? Do you feel the skills you learned years ago are inadequate for today's jobs? Let Career College of Northern Nevada help you get back on your feet again. In just 6 to 12 months, we can update you on the latest office and computer skills you need today. Career College of Northern Nevada can change your life with training in travel and tourism, data processing, medical, or legal. Or you can earn an associate's degree in computerized business management or electronic technology. Career College can change your life.
My marriage had ended, forcing me to go back to work. But when I went looking for a good-paying job, I discovered my past skills to be outdated.
Hi, this is Tracy. If you would like more information on how you can get started on a new life, call me now at 856-2266. If you do, I'll send you these complimentary brochures which describe each one of the career choices offered at Career College and how you can get started. There's no obligation, so call now at 856-2266 and ask for me, Tracy.
Hi, I'm Kirk Franke. If you need an attorney, there are 4 things you should look for. 1, a sincere commitment to you and your case. 2, a knowledge of the law. 3, the confidence and work ethic it takes to try a case. And if you find those 3 things in one attorney, then the 4th thing you need is his phone number.
Reno Business Executives. CEO IQ presents Jack Trout, consultant to Fortune 500 companies and best-selling author on marketing, October 18th at the Atlantis Resort Casino. Trout uses positioning to make companies more competitive. If he can boost the bottom line performance of Fortune 500 companies, he can do the same for your company on October 18th. And you can win a library of his autographed bestsellers at the luncheon October 18th at the Atlantis Resort Casino. Purchase your tickets today. Call 828-3939.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and political analyst Ande Engleman.
Welcome back. I'm here with Sheila Leslie, the incumbent for Assembly District 27, and Larry Martin, who's challenging her. Let's right off the bat get to this tax question. Larry, are you in favor of raising taxes?
I'm not in favor of raising taxes until I know exactly where the tax money is going. I support the Colorado issue of inflation plus population growth, and I think that's been mentioned before. And I think that was passed by the legislature, where you do not spend excess money in good years. I think their plan of returning money back to the citizens, the voters, and those people that the money should go back to. So I'm 100% behind that type of a program, but I would look at what the governor is going to offer. And to say I do support it, no. Do I not support it? I'm not decided right now. I have to look at the plan first.
Sheila, is the Colorado plan even on the table?
Not that I'm aware of, and I would say I do know where the money is going, and more importantly, I know where the state money isn't going. And we're $333 million in the hole this year because our state budget is built on gaming tax and sales tax, 2/3 of the budget. After September 11th, our state took an economic downturn. And so while I wouldn't say I'm in favor of raising every tax, I think we definitely need to look at what the Governor's Tax Reform Committee is going to come forward with. And we've got to take a look at how we can better balance the budget by shifting the burden and spreading the burden to everyone.
But this is a tough time to be raising taxes. There's a lot of people out of work, and the needs are more.
That's true. But do you know, in the last round of budget cuts that the governor was just forced to enact, we had 327 abused children who are severely emotionally disturbed, and we cut their mental health services. Those kids are not going to get treatment, and yet they desperately need it. I'm not satisfied as a legislator to let that kind of need go unanswered.
What about the mental health? Where do we stand mental health-wise?
Well, we're still trying to get back to recover in our mental health services after the tax cuts in the early 90s. We were almost to that level of the early 90s, and then with the 3% tax cut, that our revenue cut that we just had, we've had to reduce a lot of our mental health services. So we've got a lot more work to do in that area as well.
Are we improving at all?
Well, we have. Actually, there's some good news. In 1999, we funded a statewide hotline for suicide, and I just looked at some data last week that shows after decades of being #1 in the nation for our suicide rate, we've now slipped to #2 after Alaska, which is a small thing to be happy about, but in our state, we'll take those victories where we have them. So prevention does work.
Larry, let me ask you a question. Sheila sits on the Ways and Means Committee in the Assembly, which is dominated by the Democrats. And as such, that's a powerful position for Washoe County to have someone sitting on there. Why would you challenge her? Why do you think she should be replaced?
Well, it's very evident that the power is in the South. And Assembly Speaker Perkins rules the roost. Anything that he wants to get done, he will get done through his Democrat Assembly people. I want to be a voice for Northern Nevada, and I've spoken out at the airport of certain issues. But in speaking out for Northern Nevada, when the redistricting took place, Senator Washoe put a bill out that wanted to increase the legislature from 63 to 69. There was no support from it from the Democrats, that's for sure. Because what it would have done, given us 3 more seats in Washoe County and 3 more seats in Clark County. But instead, they favored going to the status quo, taking votes away from the rural counties, and we increased by 1.
Let's give Sheila a chance to respond.
Actually, that's not accurate, because I was there and I did support expanding the legislature, as did every northern and rural legislator, Republican and Democrat alike. If you recall, the whole session fell apart over the 3rd Congressional District. Senator John Porter really wanted to have those numbers. We had to come back in special session, and at that point, Speaker Perkins told Senator Washoe the deal's off. But I did support expanding the legislature.
Okay, we're running out of time. Did you want to respond to something?
Well, the vote doesn't indicate that, so I'll let the vote stand for itself.
Absolutely. Okay. People can look at the record.
Okay. Let me ask you quickly, the trench is not a legislative issue, but the Reno Gazette-Journal is having trouble getting access to some of the records. If elected, would you be willing to bring legislation to ensure that all the documentation concerning the trench would be public information?
I'm not aware of that issue. This is brand new to me. I can't imagine. We take such meticulous records. Everything is on tape, so I don't know what you're referring to.
Evidently, some of the financial records pertaining to the trench are being kept confidential.
Oh, I see what you mean. Their records, not the legislative records. No. Oh, well, I'm always willing to look at open government and open meeting legislation. I'd have to know more about it.
Well, that's what I was noted for in the Airport Authority, and I do support Open Government Freedom of Information Act. The feds, they're claiming that the federal government says that they cannot review that information. That is not true. That information is open.
Okay. Thank you both so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. When we come back, we're going to have a taped interview from Sam Shad that he did with Lieutenant Bill Bowen, who's challenging the sheriff in his run for election this year. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Now's the perfect time to get ready for holiday entertaining during Ennis's Fall Show and Sale going on right now. You have to see all the new designer fabrics now being offered. And with Ennis's complimentary design service, we'll help you make your home just right for the holidays. Plus, Ennis is offering 0% financing with no payments for 12 months. Stop by today. See what's new. Take advantage of Ennis's design service and save on everything in our store during our Fall Show and Sale.
Ennis Fine Furniture.
That thing got a Hemi? Yeah. Sweet.
The all-new Dodge Ram Heavy Duty.
Did you mean the Charger? Because you know that's got a Hemi too.
Now with a 345 horsepower, 5.7-liter Hemi Magnum. Grab Dodge's 770 powertrain limited warranty. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota don't match it.
My seats are a mess. Gum, markers, sticky spray. Have you seen this spray that flies through the air and adheres to anything? My lunch. Some kind of goo. I don't know what it is either, but it isn't pretty. So I'm a mess on the inside. But my engine is clean because I use Chevron with Techron.
No gasoline cleans your engine better than Chevron with Techron. Chevron.
Working with kids is my calling, and I enjoy it.
Come on. Yeah, I'm still in the car. 10 minutes, an hour, I've got no idea. This is ridiculous.
Can't wait to get your new Jetta? With offers like this, why would you?
This week, Sam Shad interviewed Sheriff Balaam and Lieutenant Bill Bowen. We've shown you Sheriff Balaam's tape. Today, we bring you Lieutenant Bill Bowen's. Sam?
In the sheriff's race, the primary was a little bit closer than some might have thought. Lieutenant Bill Bowen is running for sheriff. He's been on the Reno Police Force for 23 years, and he joins us here this morning. Welcome, Lieutenant. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
When the jailbreak occurred a couple of weeks ago, that must have been manna from heaven from you.
It was kind of interesting. We kind of held back as far as saying anything regarding the jailbreak until we knew some of the facts involving it.
And what do you say now?
Well, I kind of stand with the way the Commissioner Speranza said that it's negligence on the part of the administration within the Sheriff's Department. We ended up talking to the people who own supplied the alarm system for the jail. They had a fix for that over 2 years ago. In fact, they mailed the replacement parts to fix that. They sent, I think, somewhere in the area about 36 of them to see if, in fact, they could be used. They're seismic. They are used on several different other institutions, and they would have worked, but nobody has put them in, and nobody seems to know where they're at.
Let's talk about why you're running. Why you're running for sheriff.
Well, I've been asked that quite a few questions as far as why I've been running for sheriff. When I sat down and decided we were going to run, I talked to my family, and my mom just sat there, kind of smiled. She's in her 80s. And she said, I always knew you'd do that. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, ever since you were a little boy and you played cowboys, you always wanted to be the sheriff, and I knew you would be someday. But, you know, it's not because I want to be boss. I think that the law enforcement in this area has fallen as far as the quality. I think that...
In what way?
As far as the quality? If you look at the website on the Sheriff's Department, you'll see that he says that he's a community-oriented policing agency. And if you look at the statistical information, then you see that, in fact, he isn't, because all the indicators are there is that he is failing. And there's trend indicators that you see within law enforcement as far as community agencies.
For example?
And, well, what happens is if you're not really based on community policing, your calls for service rise, your activity falls, your tickets fall, your arrests, your DUIs, and all the rest of the stuff. What happens with community policing is you're supposed to have 33 1/3% of unobligated time. Their calls for service have doubled. Now, a lot of administrators from past, before community policing, would come forward and say, we have all these calls for service, we need more manpower, and if we don't have the manpower, then we're going to have to cut services. And that's exactly what's happening with the Sheriff's Department today.
So what's your solution?
The solution is to bring it back to community-oriented policing and have the people within the community become shareholders again. One of their best success stories was Sun Valley. And the first thing they did when they get into a budget problem is they closed down the substation, which they ended up saving $21,000 out of a budget of about $63 million. And I know that you could find that 21 somewhere else. So you take a success story within an area where crime has fallen and you've got a better reception. Now you see what's happening with the statistical information, and it's really going up as far as everything. And the contact with the officers is failing also.
Now, you've been supported by the Nevada Peace Officers Association, which is a union group, but you don't have any sheriffs or police chiefs who are supporting you, correct, in the state?
I have not asked for it. We have picked up the majority of law enforcement endorsements. We have the Washoe County Deputies Association. We have Reno Police Department. We have Reno Police Protective Association and the supervisors. We have Nevada Highway Patrol. We have the State Organization of Police from California and also Nevada. We have the AFL-CIO, we have the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, and several others. But I didn't want to put the police chiefs within this area in a bind because they supported my opponent at the time he was appointed to this job. And to go back and say, well, will you support me if they support them, I think it puts them kind of a thing, so I never asked them for any kind of support.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
Because you come from the ranks and you've served your whole career coming up through the ranks, does that make you too close to the men? Is that why you would get that kind of support?
I don't believe so. I think it has to do with they know what kind of leader I am. When I was in the Marine Corps, I learned something, and it's called you lead from the front and you lead by example. So everything as far as my career has always been by example, and they know that I have high expectations of the people who work for me. They know where the vision is, they know what goals we have, and that's what we strive to achieve.
Lieutenant Bill Bowen, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's a special magic in friendship, and it all comes alive on stage in the new family hit, Let's Be Friends, starring Jim Henson's Sesame Street Muppets.
Friends, friends everywhere, for us to meet.
Sesame Street Live presents Let's Be Friends, the only show created for this special time in your young child's life. Don't miss it.
Let's be friends.
Don't miss the fun this weekend at the Lawlor Event Center. Great seats are available at the box office and all ticket.com locations. See you there.
Mom's recipe for life is to enjoy it to the fullest. That's why she told me about Northern Nevada's Diagnostic Breast Care Center. From how to watch for breast cancer to how to stay fit and reduce health risks, they answered all of my questions. Thanks to Mom's advice, I'm enjoying life on my terms. So about the only question I still have is, I was getting stuck with the dishes.
Northern Nevada Medical Center. Quality health care close to home.
Over there.
The new smoother, quieter, all-wheel drive Subaru Outback.
They're so beautiful.
Imagine a sport utility designed to find harmony with nature.
What are you looking at?
When you get it, you get it.
See your local Subaru dealer for information on financing as low as 1.9% APR.
I'm kind of an expert on ska music. So I get this SBC Yahoo DSL. I got a home page and music pages that tell me about ska. It's got music news, streaming videos, band articles. It's like this thing knows more about ska than I do.
Welcome to SBC Yahoo DSL. It's smarter, it's faster, it's internet that logs onto you. Call now for $29.95 a month.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We're ready for our pundit panel now, and our guests this morning are Dave Ward, representing the Democrats, Luther Mack, representing the governor's task force on tax policy, and Greg Ferraro, representing the Republican point of view. All right, let's get started on lotteries. Luther, why shouldn't we have a lottery in this state? After all, we're going to tax people. They ought to be able to at least buy a lottery ticket.
Well, first of all, lottery is just one way to bring the taxes to the table. There's other issues in terms of taxes. And there's entertainment tax, tax on real estate, and things of that nature. And plus, we're looking at also maybe the gross business tax. But I thought lottery a way to bring taxes on the forefront, because the fact is Nevadans now go over and buy a lottery tickets every weekend. So I thought maybe it's a better thing to do is have that money spent in the state, and that money goes toward education, what have you. And hopefully that the legislature and their wisdom will take a look at this.
Some people think wisdom and legislature are oxymorons, but Greg, what do you have to say?
Well, I agree with Luther. I think that every viable suggestion ought to be put on the table. I think the legislature's going to have a heck of a lot of work to do within 120 days.
Do you think gaming is going to oppose lotteries?
I think gaming right now is going to go along with the task force suggestions that all of these different options be looked at. And at the end of the day, I think the governor and the legislature need to decide which ones work best. I really think from a political standpoint, these legislators don't want to die from 1,000 paper cuts. In other words, they don't want to piecemeal together a tax plan. I think they want to take one big chunk, do it right, and not have to do it again for some time.
Dave, what do you think?
I think sometimes the simplest answers aren't necessarily the best, and it may take a combination of revenue sources to fix what is a very big problem. I don't buy lottery tickets, but I have friends and family members who do run across the border, as Luther said, to buy the tickets, and I'd much rather see that money stay in the state of Nevada.
What is the policy reason for not having lotteries in Nevada?
Well, first of all, let me say that we want to put one package sent to the legislature, not piecemeal. We want them to accept the total package. And we hope they'll look at the total package rather than just one area for taxation. So I think that lottery and entertainment tax and the real estate tax and the gross receipt tax, I think all things we look at together in concert.
I agree. I think that the lottery is sort of the sexy piece of this plan, and so it's drawn a lot of attention to it. I don't think we should spend so much time on lotteries per se as we should about how do we fix this structural deficit we have in the state. I think the governor's given good leadership on this issue. Luther and the other 8 members of the task force have done extraordinary work. They have 1 more month to go. And let's hold our breath and see what they come up with. Then we'll have months and months of debate before any tax plan is put into effect.
Okay. What about property taxes? There are people that are going to find it tough to pay higher property taxes on fixed incomes.
Well, one thing to think about this is a great state that we live in. Nevada has a lot of opportunities for everybody. Everybody's got to participate. Not just the businessman, but every person that has a child going to school or going to college or whatever, has got to step to the plate. So I think 10 cents on a dollar for tax on real estate, that's not too much to ask for. And I think that that's the way to go. I mean, you look around Nevada, people come here, they don't intend to stay, they end up staying because of quality of life. And I don't think we ever have paid for the quality of life that we're having right now.
Okay. Any other comments on this subject?
I'd like to just agree with Greg. I think the governor and the task force should be applauded. We should take a very close look at all their recommendations. And specifically with regard to the lottery, it's important to realize that would require a constitutional amendment. So it's 5 years away. I'm sure that Luther and the other members of the task force are going to have some short-term solutions, which we certainly are going to need in this state.
I think we have to be mindful, Andy, that right now the politics have been correctly removed from this discussion. This is an academic exercise. They've gone at it the right way. Once politics gets reintroduced to this discussion, it's going to be very, very explosive.
You're talking about when the legislature goes into
session. When you're
session.
talking about introducing new taxes in this climate, it's going to be a tough charge.
All right, let me throw something else at all of you. The president's addressing the nation tonight. First of all, do you think he can make his case for going to war? And secondly, quickly, we'll go around the table, the effects on Reno aren't going to be too good from what I've seen. Going by the last war, we suffered, tourists stayed home. Greg, I'll start with you.
Yes, I do think he'll make the case, just like he did in front of the United Nations. I think that we're faced with a serious problem, and I think this president is going to lead this country in the right direction.
What about the effects on Reno if we go to war?
Clearly, I mean, any war is going to have a negative effect on domestic policy. At the same time, though, there's got to be a purpose for what we're doing, and the long-term gain will surely outweigh the short-term problem.
Luther, you're a small businessman in Reno. You feel the effects of tourists not coming?
I think the war will have an effect on business. But then again, on some business, it'll be a positive because it put more people to work. Every time there's been a war, more people went to work. On terms of Bush and his decision, I support that. He's a military guy. He's done some aggressive things, and I support whatever he says. I'll go along with it.
Okay, Dave?
I'll be anxious to see what the president is able to come up with in terms of proof of an imminent threat there. I'm still optimistic that we'll find a diplomatic solution. I think we need to be very aggressive in opening up all the channels as far as being able to explore the presidential palaces and anywhere else that the UN delegation goes. War should be a last resort, absolutely. And yes, it would have a negative impact, I think, in some businesses, but mostly it has a negative impact on the young men and women that we send to war and their families. And so hopefully the President will do everything within his power to avoid war at all costs, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay. We don't have much time left. Are there anybody want to make any predictions?
No, in terms of what?
Anything.
Well, I think that I like to applaud the other task force members. You know, we don't get a great deal of money for this committee, but there's a lot of times, I've served on a lot of committees, this committee takes us very seriously. They're doing a good job, and I like to applaud those folks who come to the plate, spend their time, nights, weekend, to do something for the state of Nevada.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll be back in a few minutes, and I'll be able to tell you then what's happening tomorrow. Believe me, tomorrow's show is one you don't want to miss.
What can I do with myself? I don't want just a job. I want a professional career, one that will give me a good income, flexible hours, a clean working environment. But most of all, I want a job where I don't do the same thing every day.
Have you ever considered a medical career?
As a doctor or a nurse, 4 to 8 years of college? I don't think so.
No, just 12 months.
Just 12 months? As what?
Medical assistant.
What do they do?
Perform basic laboratory tests in a medical office or clinic. Basically, you're a doctor's assistant.
What are my chances of getting a job?
With formal training, much better than average through the year 2010, according to U.S. Department of Labor.
Wow, that's great. Tell me more.
Hi, this is Kathy at CCNN. Call me now, and I'll tell you how you can get started right away at Career College of Northern Nevada. Call 856-2266. That's 856-CCNN. Don't wait, call now.
Over the past 20 years, I've seen a lot of changes in education.
I hope that I've had a positive effect on the students who have sat in my classroom.
I've taught them English and math, and I've taught them science. But if there's one legacy I hope I've left with them,
it's the value of a quality education.
In my experience, the Nevada State Education Association has
consistently stood up for quality education
for our kids and their future.
Any questions?
Jeep 4x4s. They even make paved roads feel safer.
You don't want to miss tomorrow's show. You've seen the ads. Now you're going to get a chance to see the people. John Hunt and Brian Sandoval are running for Attorney General, and they're going to be on the hot seat tomorrow. And helping me to interview them will be Channel 8's own Ed Pierce. So it's going to be quite a show. And then we'll have our pundits, Greg Ferraro and Chris Wicker will be back, and Dick Gamick will also join us. It's a show you definitely don't want to miss. Remember that if you want to see a repeat of the show, you can watch it tonight on Channels 12 in Reno, Carson, and Douglas County. That's cable channel 12. And we do want your input, so please send us your emails at newsmakers@kolotv.com. And we do want that input. Whether it's questions or whether it's tips, let us know.